Hello and welcome to the fifth edition of Out and Loud Pune International Queer Film Festival. And today we'll be talking about how your story could help you lead. And for that, we have a special guest who will be joining us. Before that, I would like to thank you all for joining us today, and also thank you so much for contributing and helping us make this festival happen. Also, thank you to all our sponsors: Barclays, Leading with Pride, Working with Pride, Publicis Sapient, IBM. Thank you so much for helping us make this possible. We believe that conversations are important. I understand right now it's COVID and everyone are sitting at home, and we keep hearing to different news every day about how the cases are rising. So let's divert ourselves and listen to some happy stories, good stories. Um, and also, please make sure you're safe at home, maintaining social distancing, wear your mask if you have to go out. So now let's welcome our guest. Her name is Shashwati, but we all call her Sasha. And Shashwati has been working towards diversity and inclusion from a long time, helping organizations bridge the gap and create conversations about how to create policies and help them with diversity and inclusion. Let us listen more about Shasha from her. So, Shasha, please welcome.
Hi,
Hi,
thank you so
how are you
much, Shyam.
doing today?
Wonderful introduction, and thank you for the opportunity. Hi, everyone.
Welcome. Thank you so much for accepting and joining us today on this live. So I just know that you have worked with different organizations like IBM, Publicis Sapient, some of our sponsors, also with Google and others. So could you give us a little more brief on what you do?
Right. So I have been, empowering organizations in their DNI journeys, that is diversity, equity, and inclusion journeys. And I focus mainly around disabilities and LGBTQ plus inclusion. Right now where we are, I think we need a lot of conversation, especially as India as a country. We haven't had much of this conversation, and there's so much of stigma and taboo and even unawareness around the subject that we just shove it just because it's not very pretty to talk about, or it's uncomfortable to talk about, say, disability, because it's not so pretty. And as a culture, we've not been very LGBTQ plus accepting, so some of those conversations really never happen. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make spaces around me, around all of us, more inclusive. So I'm trying to get those conversations going. And if we can build policies around it, get, those, especially when it becomes a law, it's a policy, it's that much more easier to bring the change. So I'm trying to do that.
That's really great. That's really amazing. And so it's very important that not only people or people in the DNI field doing that. I think we all need to have conversation about diversity. Diversity. I know we work for LGBTQ here at MIS, but diversity is not only limited to LGBTQ. Like you said, disability or women or lots more. I think in India we are still about to talk about caste, and much more slowly will be included racism and a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. But Shyam, I'll tell you, just in that, even if you're just LGBTQ plus, I mean, if you're just in that area, there's so much of intersection, right? And there'll be so many individuals who are from the community and will have a disability,
Yeah.
right? Then there is
Correct.
the gender. Then there will be caste in the LGBTQ plus. So even if you're just in that one space, you have that whole layers to go through. So right now you're just saying LGBTQ plus, but that's just one horizontal. In that you have disability, you have women who are non-binary gender, so you have the whole gender spectrum, and then you have caste and religion. In ours, we don't have, it's not race, but it's region, right? There is a lot of pushback happening, to a lot of people who are coming from different regions. So I think you will come across that. Even though you are placed in one vertical, you have no option but to deep dive and go into all those layers.
Yeah, very true. Very true. And we need to bring all those in the corporate world as well, because I think sometimes we have all these unconscious bias, unknowing our own biases come out. And maybe there are people around us who we are making jokes about, maybe just a small talk, and people could hear, and it could affect anyone. So
True.
yes, talking about that, I would like to say that today's topic is very interesting. We are talking about leading from the power of your own story, right? So
Okay.
to be very honest, I was just thinking, how do we talk about leadership? And I was going through all our sponsors, and suddenly I see the what you say tagline for leading with pride is leading with the power of your own story. So I'm like, wow, this is an interesting topic. Let's talk about this. So that's how I got the idea of talking about this. So tell me more, like, what is this all about? What's the concept? How does this work? How can someone help themselves using their own story?
So you want to know the concept of lead with the power of story?
Yeah,
If I
how can one
sure,
help themselves
sure.
with their own story? Yeah.
Yeah. So leading with the power of your story, I think is just brilliant. Obviously, when you listen to it, it catches your eye. Maybe you don't realize it much, but when you're into the program and having done the program, I can tell you it's just brilliant. And the way Dwight does it, it's amazing. What it does is it helps us as participants to find our personal own inner strengths, motivation, inspiration to go ahead in our life based on our own life story. So we actually dig up our own life stories, we reflect, and then use that to build our motivation, our strength to lead the way forward. Were you able to get?
Wow. Yeah. I understand. That's very interesting. So you're saying that we first go through our story once again ourselves, and then we use that to lead our story. Right?
Yeah. See, we all know our stories somewhere in the back of our heads, but we never really take a moment out, pause and reflect on it, and we never ever analyze it to churn out stuff from where we can find our strength. I think that's the beauty of the whole program, and that's the concept of lead with the power of your story.
All right. I think that actually kind of answers my next question, but I still would like to
What is
go ahead with that. Yeah. Yeah. So if we come across like a lot of youngsters these days after school, college, and or who is trying to get to work, or who feel they are not being able to grow at work, try and look for leadership development programs. And you can see that on LinkedIn as well. If you go to LinkedIn, there are so many ads for different leadership development programs. So
right?
what is different in Leading with Pride, and why is it only for the LGBTQIA and allies?
True. I'll tell you how I got into it. So if you asked me, Sasha, why did you choose to be a part of the program? True, there are a lot of, leadership development programs, and I do come from a management background. I have seen a couple of development programs, but you know what? When I came across this, what sounded interesting was because it said, for the LGBTQ plus community, leadership development programs for the LGBTQ community. And when I read that, I thought, oh, that's interesting. And why I found it interesting was because I wanted to know how a leadership program could be structured so that a particular community could benefit, or a program could be structured as such to churn out leaders from a particular community. So that really appealed to me, and I wanted to know more. And so I applied for the program.
Yeah. So what did you find? Why is it only? Did you think it's only for LGBTQ, or is it for everyone else?
I think it's for everyone. I think it's for everyone and anyone. But because this is Leading with Pride and this was structured for the LGBTQ plus community, I think some of us, all of us have struggles in life. But maybe, for us as a community, maybe we've had few more, maybe. I'm not saying, everybody has struggles. Maybe we've had some more, just that and some more. when that happens, sometimes we just get lost a little. We feel alone, and especially when we've had more stories or more lived experiences around discrimination or guilt or regret or shame. We usually don't, we think we are the only ones. And when you can find a program which actually urges you and makes you really dig into your stories, reflect, and not just your own, and then you have your peers share their stories, you realize, one, you are not alone. Two, you realize that, okay, this was my struggle, or it's nowhere less, but then the other person has had this. So we, I as a person don't just find strength in my own stories, but somehow I try to draw strength from the other stories as well. So I think it is beautiful. It's for anyone and everyone. And if you are especially from the community, I know for a fact that we do have a little more struggles, a little more stories than probably others. And most of it is, a lot of it is guilt, regret, and maybe shame. And when we find peers or friends who almost have similar feelings, because not, we usually don't find peers or friends who say, oh, I have stories of shame, or I have stories of guilt and regret, and that kind of regret. I think that gives us a lot of strength. So definitely, let me be very, very recommended.
True. I agree with you totally, because one of the main highlight of Mist is also about stories. If you see, most of our events that we run is somehow related to sharing your experience. Even film festival, the film festival is to talk about, like, when we started, just like 1 week before, a lot of people said, why do you want to do this during pandemic? It's getting worse day after day. Why don't you move? I said, it's not about, it could help in multiple ways. One, we are sharing our stories. Uh, if you see right now during the pandemic, there are a lot of trans people facing more difficulties than anyone else in their livelihood. That's a story. How will people talk about trans people? Maybe once they watch some movie, it might not be related to pandemic, but when they go back, they're like, let's research more about what's happening, and maybe they will start searching
True.
about them, and
True.
then yeah.
Very true. And I'll just add to what you asked me. You asked me, if this is only for the LGBTQ plus individuals or others. Definitely for LGBTQ plus, and I said that earlier. But even, see, if I'm an ally, I'm already a part of the community. See, I'm someone who's not even an ally. I'm outside that whole set, and I do come from the program. I think I develop a lot of understanding, and it gives me that opportunity to be an ally. If I don't even become an ally, it at least broadens my mind that much up. And when we broaden our minds up, we broaden our personalities. I think that's leadership. That's what leadership is all about.
True. So we have a comment here on YouTube from Harish. It says,
Okay.
it's about how your vulnerabilities can also be turned into your strength. This program is transformational. Uh, that's really amazing to know that leading with pride is transformational. So I would like to take this opportunity to announce before I go to the next questions. Sorry, Sasha, I'll be announcing something else in between. So I'm taking this opportunity to announce that as Out and Loud Pune International Queer Film Festival and Mist, when you're registering as an audience, which is completely free this year, you all can come in. It's a virtual event. You all can watch movies at our OTT platform, but the links will be shared only with people who are registering. I know it is free, but we don't want to just make it public. So the festival is completely free, as well as if you're interested to be part of the Leading with Pride program, you can also let them know that you are coming through Out and Loud. There's a tick mark when you're registering with us. You just tick mark. You could win a chance to be sponsored by us. Um, I'll not tell more about the program, but we'll be sponsoring whatever the program requires from you. I won't tell you that. That is secret. That is, once you register, we'll let you know more about it. Or maybe at the end, we could have someone talk about it, or Sasha could speak a little more about it during the end of this show. So please do sign up if you're interested to join LWP, that is Leading with Pride. And I'm sure you'll be one of them next time coming here and speaking. So my
That's an
next,
amazing offer, Sham. And I feel bad that I didn't have that offer.
oh, I'm sorry. Maybe you can do it once again. You enjoy the program.
Totally, totally. In a few years, yes.
Yes. So we would. That's a good point. So I think we have another comment here. Oh, it disappeared. It says, okay, it's about the initiative. Thank you. And my next question is, as we are talking about how story changes, I mean, your own story changes how you can see your future. So, after going to this program, how did this program help you personally? How did it help you change things in your life or right now?
Okay. Yeah, yeah. I'll just stretch that a bit. I
Sure.
joined, when you read leadership development program and you sign up for it, that's what you expect, right? That I will learn some skills, maybe management skills and stuff like that. So I embarked on that journey thinking, okay, so this program is going to enable me to become a better professional. I'm going to learn more management skills, more values, and I become more valuable, at work and stuff like that. And I joined thinking that, but I think it just ended up being an extremely, extremely personal journey for me. I was expecting that, I'll armor myself with all these workplace skills, like I said. But one of the first things I discovered was joy, just plain joy. I mean, if I'm saying that and it sounds weird to you, I can totally, totally get it. Like if someone says I found joy, it can sound weird to you, but for me, it's so weird that I knew joy. Of course, we all know what joy is, but in my head, I never probably experienced joy, or I just didn't have that experience. I knew what joy was, but I didn't really, really know it. So I'm so forever grateful to Dwight for enabling me to have that experience. So that's one. Two, along with joy, I think I also found shame. Uh, yeah, I found shame. Not really find shame, I think. Um, what happened, I had lots, I still have lots of shame. But what happened was, I think I found not shame, but the courage to share my shame, if I may say. So, I had these wonderful individuals with me in the program who shared, so many stories, their vulnerabilities with so much of courage that for me not to share anything or just not share my true self just felt so wrong. So I just did that. I shared my bits of shame. And Shyam, are you there? I mean, I can't see you, but anyways, how most of us, a lot of us, not most of us, live with some kind of shame. Do you relate to that? Can you
Yes.
relate to some bit of that? Okay, good.
Yes.
So, a lot of us live with some kind of shame. Shame for ourselves, of ourselves, or whatever that, but shame in general. While some of us are aware of that, many of us aren't, right? I definitely am and was in the category of that aware. That I was aware, but I never really shared any of it with anyone. So when people were doing that, and I said how it felt, I just felt wrong for me not to do that. So I did that, and I think I had my own coming out in the program, and for me it was the first. So that was a lot. I think it was a lot, and I think I'm yet to realize the effects and the after effects of it in its totality. But I'm sure it has cracked open some door somewhere, and light does seem to have creeped in. Definitely, definitely. And so that was great. So these were two big aha moments for me. One was more pleasant, one was not so. I mean, it's a good thing, but was a very, very difficult step for me. And I think after the program now, I reflect a little bit more. Just sometimes I just take a pause and I reflect more. Of course, I made these amazing connects. I think even if I do not speak to, my peers or people from the program for months, anytime that I do, I just instantly feel that, I just know you and I never have to hide. And just that kind of acceptance that I had from the group itself was so uplifting. You were talking about how, the power of story inspires you and motivates you and gives you that inner strength. I think when you find acceptance in your own shame and whatever it could be, and just that acceptance gives you a lot of strength, I think. So I did find that, and I believe now more in the power of my stories. And I've also learned to, another thing I learned during the program was, so I don't know if you have it. I have a little devil live inside me who talks these horrible things to me in my head. So, so not only I believe in the power of my stories, but now I've started to also listen. Not that I hear the devil inside, but at least I notice it and give it that space. And sometimes I'm able to shove it away. So I think I'm still learning. It's not over for me yet. Yeah.
That's I learned three things. So I think devil is your own thing. So you have a devil in you. But what you learn from
I'm sure you have one inside you who says, Shyam, you're this horrible person. You can't do it. Tell me you don't have it.
I don't know. I don't think
you don't
about it much.
I have one who tells me that, you will never amount to anything. You can't do this. This is not you.
I have an amazing partner to tell if I think I can't do anything. So he'll be like, we can do it. Shut up.
All right. I have this one which pops up in head sometime, not all the times, but sometimes, and says, no, you can't do this. Who are you? What are you thinking? Who do you think you are? So, yeah.
So we have a surprise for you. Let's see. We have a special guest who will pop up now.
Okay.
Hi, Dwight. How are you?
Oh my God! Hi, Dwight.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Good to talk with you guys. We're here in the USA, and it's really good to hear you so clearly and fresh in the afternoon.
So, Dwight, I want to know, did you bribe Sasha? She's been telling Dwight throughout the life.
He answers the question. I have a lot of money in my bank now. He bribes.
None of the money's from me, but we were able to work through friends, and stuff like that.
So, Dwight, I thought I'd pull you in as well to also maybe explain our audience on what LWP is, how does it work, and was Sasha the best student there or no?
Well, Sasha was a great student, absolutely great student, and there are, I think, about 43 other great students that went through it at this point. So we have a lot of great students, and Sapa was certainly a joy to have part of the program. One of the questions you talked about earlier is about why is this kind of targeted towards the LGBT community. And one of the key things about leadership is it really is kind of a personal thing because it comes from a strong sense of self. You know who you are, you know your experience, and there's your own unique, authentic voice as a leader. And LGBTQ people have sometimes a common experience. Every person that's a leader can benefit from really having this strong sense of self. But because there's this common experience and of what it's like to be in between worlds and to, as Sasha called it, to sometimes have adopted this shame from society, we gear it towards LGBTQI persons, IA persons, because of that common experience. We hope in the future to be able to also do it for other groups specifically, and create a curriculum that kind of emphasizes their unique experience as well. Right now, this is focused on LGBT because that's certainly one of the experience groups or populations that I know best.
Wow, that's really nice. That actually answers a lot. I never thought about that. Thinking about that, I really feel that if a LGBTQ person, or let me take myself when I was not out, if I would have applied for any of these leadership development programs, not LWP, some other things that we see online, I don't think I would have got everything out of it, because I would have not been comfortable sharing what happens in my life, what happens at home, or what happens with my friends. How am I not sharing my life with the world out there? So I think I wouldn't have got much out of those programs. Now I see why LWP can stand out. I don't know if I'm right. One of you can tell me if I'm right. I think that makes more sense for me now. I understand that. Even if I know you for long, I never thought about this aspect of the program.
Well, I think that there's a traditional kind of idea of leadership that is all about you're strong, you're decisive, and over the years they found that there's really many voices of leadership, and that the just as workforce and visibility has become more diverse over the years, the understanding of leadership has come to be much better understood, and this idea of personal voice, of personal motivation, of what's your contribution as a leader has become much more important. And so there's a few more leadership programs out there that understand this importance of a sense of self. But there's really not very many that really cater to the experience and the sense of self of minorities, of people that have come from backgrounds where society has shamed them in some way, or society has said they're less than others. And so that's what we're hoping to do is really address that opportunity within those communities.
That's really great. So I have this made me think of a question to Sasha, actually, because you're working as a consultant in that field. So as different communities come together to help each other, like now how we are coming together as an LGBTQIA community, Dwight has started LWP to work on leadership development. So in your description, I saw that you also work with people with disabilities. Are there any programs similar to this who can, or like, I just want to know more about that.
I have not seen a leadership development program specifically for people with disabilities as yet. No. What is there for people with disabilities is skilling.
Sorry, I didn't get.
Skilling programs, or specific skills, any technical, whether it's a marketing course for persons with disabilities, whether they're making fit for a job, whether it's a lot of autism programs that makes candidates with autism, if they have to go into an organization, so how do we equip them with communication skills, socialization skills, and stuff like that, but none for leadership.
That's I don't know what to say. It's kind of upsetting to hear that, because when I was working in corporates, whether it's my previous companies like Accenture or ADP, we did have some amazing people who really worked better than me or better than us, I would say. And I think everyone should have some, even that is skill, right? That's also skilling to grow. I think there should be something like if we talk about intersectionality in LGBTQ, I'm sure we, even if they come, whether whatever it could be, if they come from a disability background or from any other, uh, what you say, diversity brackets, they will have LWP to join. But what about someone who is not part of it, or what about someone who don't know about LWP? I'm sure Dwight will not say no, right, Dwight? If they're not an LGBT, you'll not say no.
That's
But
right. Well, we'll let them in. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think there should be something done. I don't know if our sponsors are watching. Maybe I'll give them a hint next time in an email, or other companies I speak to. Maybe we should encourage people to also do different things. What do you say? I mean,
Absolutely. Or I'll urge Dwight, and we can do one for just people with disabilities, a development program. So we branch out LWP and we do one for leading with disability, LWD.
Dwight is like, don't give me more work. I'm already tired taking care of
We would love to be able to do that. Yeah, and really am driven to do that. So yes.
So I think I'm like really happy with what we spoke today. So Dwight, do you have anything to say to our audience about LWP? How they can uh, reach out to working with Pride to be part of LWP, or working with Pride, and more about in that term?
Sure. Let me just, if I could, make one more comment before the end here, is that um, I would expect that many people listening have kind of this wish or hope that something about the world would be better. Certainly right now we're going through a horrific pandemic, and it's particularly tough in India, and many people are affected. And after the pandemic, will be more normal. But there's all of us have a particular sense of things that just aren't as good as they need to be in the world. People aren't able to live their full lives and make their full commitment for many reasons. And we all have um, those wishes or those ideas of what should be better. And what we try and do in Leading with Pride is help you figure out how to make those a reality. You're you're the best one. You have the vision of what it takes to make those changes. And uh, when you want change in the world, you can't sit around and wait for somebody else to do it, to lead it, because they aren't going to do it like it needs to be done. You're the one who knows how it needs to be done and what needs to happen. And so we really work to help you make the change that you see is important in the world. And to contact us, we have an email address, LWP, that's Leading with Pride, LWP at workingwithpride.org. You can go to the Working with Pride website, workingwithpride.org, and contact us there as well. And of course, I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn. Try to get on Instagram every once in a while. So you can contact me personally there. And this is my husband, Neil, who likes to be recognized as one of the people who makes this possible, which is very much true.
Hi, Neil. How are you?
You're asking, how are you? He can't hear me. I have my headset on. He's great.
Okay. Sure. So thank you so much, Dwight. We'll ask one of our team members to put that in comment, and it will be shown on the video, your website and other details. You can maybe put it in chat with me.
Very well, thank you.
Hold on just a second.
Okay.
I'm going to put you on speakerphone here.
Right, everyone can hear you. We all were able to hear you, Dwight.
Sorry.
I think he can't hear you. There's some issue with the audio. He has some issue with the audio, I think.
Right. I think he has some technical issues, so we have let Dwight back to backstage. Dwight, if you're listening to what I'm saying, you can put your website and other details on the comment, and we will display it on the screen for all the audience. And also, getting back to our topic, Sasha, that was a small surprise. We thought let's pull Dwight in. And,
That was lovely to see him after so many months. I haven't seen him for months now.
Yeah, I mean, I've also not been. I've been tired of all these online events, and now I'm here sitting online and doing it.
So tell us what's for store with you. Like, could you give us a little preview on what's to come and what to watch out for in days to come?
Okay, sure. I will end with that.
We'll end with that.
I'll give more details on that.
Okay.
So before that, my next question to you is: what was the best part of LWP? What was the best part of in the course that you feel? What do you feel was the best part in LWP?
For me, it was definitely the stories. Of course, it was, LWP is not just the power of your story. I mean, that's one part of the program. It's big. That's like the core. But of course, because it's a leadership development program, there's a lot of leadership concepts, there are management concepts and stuff like that. But if you're asking me this question, for me as a person, like me personally, I was aware of some of those. Some of those were also new, but for me, what stuck to me was definitely the story. Like I had never done, I'm such a doer. I never sit. I always have to do something, right? And I have to do it well. It just doesn't stop there. I not only have to do it, and I have to do it well. Result can be crap, but I have to do it well in my head. So I'm always a doer. So I never really pause. I never really reflect. And I might reflect on the projects I work on work-wise, but never personally. So I think this gave me an opportunity because this was, work. It was coursework. I had no option but to sit and reflect. And I think that was a lot of growth for me. A lot.
Achha. So you meant you had assignments where you had to think about it, reflect back.
Whether you call it assignment or not, but if you have to sit and share your stories, say you are my, you and say 3-4 more people are my batchmates, and I have to sit and we are sharing stories. You'll have to think of the stories. You'll then have to narrate the stories. That's part of the work that then you are doing. You can then not say, okay, I don't want to do this. I want to learn management skills. So you're forced to then sit and reflect. Of course, we are moved, we are affected by other stories. Say I listen to you and you have this amazing story. I'm sure I have so much to learn and I can take away so much from it. But the moment I'm forced to, if you are not that person, like I wasn't, to pause and reflect on your own, which for many of us is something of shame and regret and guilt, which we don't want to go near to. We would rather shove it away or, put a blanket on. When you have to get through those and you have to scratch that surface and, you'll have to look at it. I think that's a lot of work, and then you do grow. And that's what happened to me, I think. For me, I think I'd already scratched a lot. It's just that I had scratched and I was just living with all that garbage by myself. I never really shared anything with anyone. And when I did, like I said, I found so much of acceptance. And, sometimes I don't know if you can resonate. You sometimes feel, when you will share who you truly are, you will not be loved, And when that does not happen, you think you'll not be loved. And when that does not happen, then you just pause and think, wait, what just happened? Can I really be this? Can I, have all this and still be a person and not we looked at some things, as someone who is small. I think that gives you a lot of strength.
Yeah, I think speaking about this made you emotional. I was just going to ask, I don't know if you are okay to go ahead with that again, ask to share some of your story, something that.
It might not be the best day for that. Sharing my story. I did that once. I still have to drink water for what I did. But the max I can say was, I was living with a lot of shame for whatever reasons. For me, it wasn't guilt or regret, it was a lot of shame. And somewhere deep down, even though, I think I'm confident and I'm this and I'm that, sometimes when you live with all that shame, you feel, oh, maybe, I don't know. For me, it wasn't acceptance, but more like, will you say, suppose, okay, let me take your example. I would feel, okay, if I tell Sham this, will Sham think lesser of me? I'll never be the same Sasha if he knows. And when that does not happen, and you're still the same person, and you still talk to me the same way that you did before you knew my stories, I think that makes you grow a lot. Have you had similar experiences?
Yes, I think most of us queer people come from that place where we are scared about sharing or talking about our sexuality initially before we come out. We are scared that we will lose our friends, family, and a lot of other things. So I totally get what you're saying. So
Yeah,
that's
for me it was just more of, how you think less of me. That was the shame. Less of, not that you're accepting me. Sometimes you can't just throw people out of your lives, you'll always be there. But then, say, we were in that space where you couldn't throw me out of your life. But if you knew the truth, you will definitely think lesser of me. That's so much. And I think that was a lot of fear, even if I did not acknowledge it. And when I had to come and share it, what was, I think, very difficult. And had it not been for my amazing, program mates, course mates, I don't think I would have done it. And because they shared, I felt like a total phony not to. It would have made me such a hypocrite to listen to you, come up with your truth, your vulnerabilities, and not share mine. I don't think I could have lived with that. So no one forced. It's not like Dwight is like, if you don't, I will fail you or you'll have to get out of the program. That never happens. It's just that, I would have felt very, very, what do you say? Like I said, a big hypocrite, big phony, a big fake if I, let you speak and if I didn't share mine. What if you're sharing yours and I don't share mine? Then I'm just taking and I'm not giving anything in return. And that's something I can't live by. I think for some time in my life, I'm more like, how I can also be a giver. Of course, I want to take. I want to take the rich experiences. I want to take all the love and the acceptance and everything that you give me. I'll ask for more. I'm very greedy that way. I'll ask for all of it. But then in return, am I giving something which is substantial? And if I don't do it, then I think it's difficult to live with yourself. And I think that's what happened.
very, very, very interesting. I was also thinking for a second. That was how I was showing you how I think for a second.
Okay.
So just going back to LWP, so this can be taken by anyone, right? Students or people already working in corporate or people planning to go. Okay. So I heard that after the program you started I think magazine. I guess it's a magazine or
I
thing. Yeah.
started a magazine. I also started a YouTube channel.
Wow, tell us more about that.
So in my YouTube channel, I put up videos around diversity and inclusion. So quick bites on diversity and inclusion, and it's all, whether it's disability, LGBTQ plus issues, employment issues, how HR stuff. A lot of us have gap years, and the employ and you know how during recruitment they ask you about your gap years, and sometimes you're not comfortable sharing it, and then pay parity and stuff like that. So I take issues like that. Also, if you're watching and if you have some issues that you would like me to take up, please write to me. I'm on LinkedIn or WhatsApp me, whatever. I would love to take up issues and just talk about it, just have that conversation. I'm not giving any solution, I'm just bringing it up, bringing the conversation out in the open, and just pondering over it collectively, so that probably collectively we can come up with a solution and just make things better for us and more inclusive. That's the idea. And two, I have started a e-magazine called Inclusion Digest, where we are sharing all the. So that's again a quick bite. So all the highlights. It's a monthly newsletter, monthly magazine. So all the highlights of the month around DNI. That's one. We are also having some fun stuff. So a lot of cartoons. It's nice to laugh at our own selves. I believe that. So a lot of diversity and inclusion cartoons. Then if I see something interesting, there's a lot of interesting signage that one comes across. So I put that up. If you are a diversity supplier, say you are a small business, medium business, owned by, say, persons with disability or from the LGBTQ plus community, any underrepresented marginalized group, if you're someone who runs a business like that, I'll be more than happy to promote you on the pages. If you are in an organization, you have some best practices to share, I would love to share that. If you're someone who's received an award or any recognition for the amazing work that you do for the community or for diversity and inclusion, we publish that as well.
Wow, that's very, very interesting. I think there's so much that goes into it. So is this e-magazine once a month, or how?
It's once a month, yes.
It's once a month. So people who want to subscribe to it should send you their email, or how does it? How do they get?
Send me an email. I'm also trying to set up now a LinkedIn page called Inclusion Digest. Right now, I have a downloadable version. So if you can send me your email, I'll email you the copy. But very soon you'll find it on a LinkedIn page which says Inclusion Digest.
Sure. And
but I'm setting it up. Yes.
Also, to check out few magazines, you can also go to lgbtq.co.in. She's given us permission to even upload the downloadable version there.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Okay, are you surprised? I was just wondering, are you surprised?
No, I'm saying thank you. That's lovely.
Thank you for sending it to us. I went through a few and it's really amazing and good work. I'm sure it takes a lot of time to arrange those things in right place and
I'm sure someone who works for Mist and does all those things that you do, I'm sure you are well aware of the effort that goes in. It's a joyride.
Yeah, we do it once a year when we do our festival guide, but that takes a lot.
Huge.
I don't take up. Ram does that, so.
But even if he does, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
And if it's annual, I think it'll be that much more thick, and it'll have more content, and I think you'll have a lot of work to do. So
True.
That's Ram's department.
Yes, that's Ram's
department.
You have
conveniently shifted everything. That's more laborious to him.
Yeah, he's good at editing. So
smart decision. You can say all the good things about him.
All right. Before I close, and I would like to thank everyone who are watching this, and also, like Sasha requested, I would give you some idea of what's going to happen. So we will have a few series of such talks. I don't want to break the surprise, so I will not tell the names of those talks right away. So we might have series of different talks before the festival. And also, we will have different panel discussion during the festival, starting on Thursday, because festival starts on Friday, but we'll be starting one panel discussion on Thursday. Then even all 3 days of festival, you will still have panel discussions on different topics related to corporates, related to films, related to what's happening currently with the community and in the world. So we'll have different topics talking about different issues in the festival. You will get a festival guide on our website in a couple of days, which will include the schedule of movies, which movie will be playing what time. It is completely free to register for the festival, but the movies will be playing according to the schedule as per the time. And if you want to watch a particular movie, you need to be there. Don't forget, you need to vote for the movies so that it helps us in giving awards to the movies, because we are a festival which is a what you say crowd festival made by common people, and we also want to vote based on how much the crowd likes your movies, or if they really feel the topic is more important. So based on that, you could go vote for your movies, and the films will be awarded through that. And a lot of people who attend our festival every year would know this, but because you are Sasha, I'll be telling you. We also have different awards during the festival. We talk about like we give something called Out and Loud Parent of the Year. We have Out and Loud Ally of the Year. We have so these different awards for people who have been supporting the community and working for the community. We also award people for working for the community and their work. So I would like to see you attending the festival as well. This is an invitation from our end, and please be
so
there.
Looking forward.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't hear that.
I'm so looking forward to the movies. So I'm first waiting for your schedule download, and then I'm going to mark things, and then I'm going to attend religiously.
Sure. Thank you so much. And also a small gift for you, Shara, from our side. That's another initiative called Queer Bazaar. So you'll be receiving a gift voucher from Queer Bazaar in your email. Thank you so much.
Silent clap. So I was silently clapping because I didn't want to disturb you.
No. So thank you so much for taking out time and joining us today and sharing your experience and telling us more about how your story could help yourself. And to know more about that, obviously you can register for the LWP. Even through our film festival registration page, you can be a part of it, and you will learn more about it. Once again, I would like to thank all the audience who join us today or who are going to watch this later on our Facebook or YouTube channel. This will be available to watch later as well. And we will try sharing it on other platforms, the recorded version on LinkedIn or Instagram. And thanks to all the contributors who help us make this festival happen. Thank you to all our sponsors, Barclays, Leading with Pride, Working with Pride, Publicis Sapient, and IBM. And thank you so much, Sasha, once again for being here.
Thank you, Shyam. Thank you for having me.
Everyone, be safe. Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye-bye.